Okay, so this next picture frame that we're going to make is a build off of our 4 square that we made. So if you need to watch that to review how to use multi-select and baseline to merge different blocks together, I recommend reviewing that because this is going to be that next step harder. The first thing I'm going to do, and this will look more perfect on my computer than it will on your quilt because I'm using the computer and not at my tablet at my long arm. So I am going to first turn on record because I am going to mark the inside block that should already be sewn. This is going to be marked just for a guide. I believe these blocks are 6 inches. This is just going to be a guide to help me do, or help me on my screen know where everything else is. So telling me on my screen where this inside block is going to help me figure out how large and small my picture frame can be. So after that one is marked, I'm going to go into area and I'm going to do that same idea, but to the multi-point area around the sashing that we would have if we had actually pieced this. So this is about 1 inch wide, so I will make it a slightly incorrect inch so that you guys can see why we are marking both. And last one. Okay, so that is where my picture frame sashing would end up. Now, I'm going to do this with my alternating loop design. When you open this design into your block, it's going to be ginormous, which is why I have this marked line on the inside and my purple line on the outside, so that when I modify and resize this, I can see how small it needs to be. Now, if you don't like removing this back into the corner every time it shrinks down, I recommend turning on a line and turning on left and top, and it will keep it in this top left hand corner the whole time you're working on it. So going back to resize and shrink it down so that it's just inside. If you like a skinnier border, you can obviously go one more. I think in my written notes I did do 1.18 for this. But you can also change those settings based on how you prefer your sashing to look. So top and left is back on. From here, I am going to duplicate. Put this one in my top right corner. I need to rotate it so that it's going the correct orientation. Remember, if my original start is going to be this top left-hand corner, all of my starts need to follow that same path around the whole frame. So this is my start, end is on the right. Start is on the left, end is on the right and at the bottom. So that should be the exact same size. You can still do an align to the right and to the top, and it puts these aligned together. From there, I'm going to open up the alternating loops 2. Where did it go? We'll select it again. Let's try to open this again because it's not thinking. Continuous line. I missed saying it earlier, but your alternating loops 2 is in corners under Pro Stitcher Design, and continuous line is where the edge to edge is. So you can open that. It's obviously ginormous. So something that helps is kind of set it on top of what you are hoping to align it with, so that as you shrink it down, you can tell when they're the same size. That's almost perfect, but I don't like that it's just a little bit off, so instead of 0.25, I'm going to make this 0.3 and see what it looks like. Nope, too big. Clear 0.27. There we go. 0.27 looks good. Zoom back out. Now we're going to use repeat. We're using the basic repeat, and we're just going to repeat until it makes it all the way over. I, at this point, would rather my repeat be too short. I'll change that in this one. This is going to need to be a little longer. This is purposely going to be too long because I can fix that later. So here we go. From here, I'm going to baseline this so it's now 1 unit. If I didn't baseline it when I make my next modifications, it will not treat it as a unit, it will treat it as individual designs. So all 22 of those would be an individual edit. I want to baseline that first so that I can make those edits. I'm going to turn lock off because I only want to mess with the width, and I'm going to make my width try to match perfectly between those two. Sometimes it's easier to see this if you turn your start and end off because you can actually see it without those circles in the way. It's almost perfect. Actually, that is so perfect I'm not going to mess with it. But if yours is not perfect, change your width until they're laying on top. So this one is now currently too small. I'm going to stretch it back out. If they can hit both the start and the end fairly close, then you're good enough. This is close enough and this is close enough, because keep in mind this is going out a little bit while this one's not. So if you're worried about that and you want to shrink it so that when this comes in, it would be more close, and I might actually leave that like that because it will make my final design less morphed. But if your starting area is not as wonky as this top right corner, you might not need to do this. Okay, from here, we're going to do our reposition endpoints. So my crosshairs are going to be right above my area to make this easier to see. But I'm going to click my top left-hand corner. I'm going to hit reposition endpoint. I'm going to basically line this one more time. And I also need to duplicate it. You'll see why in a second. So make sure you duplicate it before you baseline this together. Then with this middle section, we are going to reposition start point. Multi-select both. Baseline. And now they are 1 unit. Same idea. I'm going to turn multi-select back off, hit my endpoint, hit my top right hand corner. I'm going to reposition to the start point. Multi-select, selecting from the left hand side to the right. That black dot means that they're lined up, and baseline. So I have this full top section ready to go. This spot that I duplicated earlier, let's turn my multi-select back off. This spot that I selected or duplicated earlier, we're now going to rotate and turn that into the right hand side of the block. We're going to do the same idea where we reposition the top's endpoint and the right hand side start point. Turn on multi-select, baseline them. Now I have this whole top and right hand side ready. Don't worry about right here. That will fix when in our next step. From here, go to edit, duplicate. We have a this other side, so modify, rotate, 2, 3, takes 4 rotates, so it's the correct orientation for the bottom right or bottom left. We're gonna do the repositions one more time. Grab the top right hand side and reposition its endpoint. Grab the bottom. This is off my screen a little bit, but you'll still be able to see it. Multi-select them in the right order and baseline. Now we have the full picture frame. Now, reasons why I did the area along the outside seam and this black seam as the inside, because now let's unselect that inside. Deselect. Now I can grab this picture frame and we can skew it to our border and it will put it perfectly around. I will say I don't like this gap right here, so I'm going to baseline and resize and shrink it just a little bit widthwise, because from here I can still shimmy it to the right just a little bit now that it's smaller. I don't like the top and bottom is still a little bit too big, so I'm going to resize my top and bottom. Boop. But I will probably need to reposition up because I have more space at this seam here. You can also triple check with your crosshairs. Draw along that seam and see where everything's going to hit. Draw along that seam and see if you like it. This is a great tool, and it's a smaller version of what you can do with larger sashing and borders. So have fun practicing it. After you've done it with this pattern, feel free to go in and try any of the other Pro Stitcher designs on any of the other picture frames, or you can use the same one for all of the picture frames. But going in here, you have the alternating loops corner. That one's cute. This curls corner is really cute. I did the double swirl on another one. Any of these thinner ones that will be decoration for the picture frames but not too congested look really, really good around these picture frames. So have fun.